Hey everyone, Josimarie here and thanks for watching. So this is a different kind of video. We're not going anywhere, we're not traveling, we're not doing the most. I'm at home and I thought it would be the best time to do an update video from moving to Oakland. I posted this video a while ago talking about my decision to move to Oakland, and people had some strong feelings about moving to Oakland or to the Bay Area in general, which is totally welcome. I think it allowed for some interesting conversation. I also got requests to actually do an update from that time. So this is it. Full transparency, or spoiler alert, I'm actually no longer in Oakland. Although this apartment looks, or the styling of it looks very much like my apartment in Oakland. For the sake of this video, I think I need to actually pull up all of the comments that I received about moving to Oakland. And I also want to be able to share some of my own experiences from when I lived there. So let's dive right in. The first most popular question that I received was, why would you want to move to Oakland? And I totally understand. Let me just back up a little bit. When I decided I wanted to move to Oakland and I told my family that I was going to do this, I got some pushback. I also mentioned it at work, at a work call, and nobody said anything, but you could just feel the energy changed. It was kind of like, why would you move to Oakland? And honestly, I get it. I totally get it. I did explain a little bit in my video as to like why I wanted to move to Oakland. And the main reason really was community. If I can back up really quickly, I was nomading for a little while. I was working remotely and I had been traveling. I had spent some time in Paris and in Spain and in Zambia. Did I do Zanzibar too? Mexico. So I had been nomading for a while and I got to a point where, like, yeah, that was fun. Highly recommend. But I got to a point where I missed having a certain kind of stability. Before I started nomading, I was in Columbus, Ohio. And really being in Columbus, Ohio was not a conscious choice for me, right? It wasn't like, oh, I really want to be here, so let me go there and start my life and I'll thrive there. Not at all. Long story short, I moved to Columbus, Ohio because of COVID. I had spent the majority of my adult years, I mean, all of my adult years really, in New York, in Brooklyn, and that was home. And during the lockdown in 2020, it was a lot. Let's not revisit that. So I decided to move to Columbus, Ohio. And after being there for a little bit over a year, things started opening up a little bit. I knew I needed to be in a place where I could really thrive. I knew Columbus wasn't it, but at the same time, I didn't know where that place was for me. But I did want to be stable again. I wanted to sit down and like have a community around me, make friends. I mean, all of this is actually in the main video, so you should probably take a look at that so you can get a little bit more understanding of where I'm coming from. But one thing that attracted me to Oakland was the fact that it had a Rwandese community. For some reason, at that point in my life, I needed to be around people from my country who were around the same age group as me, who are not necessarily family. I hadn't had that a lot growing up, especially like being a refugee. The idea of like finding a community that's your own is a little blurry. So it felt like in that moment in time, for me, it was important for me to find that. And I had been to the Bay Area a few times and had the pleasure of meeting some wonderful people from my country, and their community was really nice. So I wanted to be a part of that. I also got an apartment in Columbus, Ohio, because I was feeling lazy, right? Like I knew deep down in my heart that I didn't want to stay in Columbus, Ohio, but I was too lazy about it. Moving is stressful. Moving is hard. Like creating new communities is hard, right? So it's not like I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and everything's gonna be perfect. Yeah, it was scary. So I kind of got stuck in a way in that space of feeling afraid to make the jump, although I knew I needed to. And I got an apartment. I signed a lease in Columbus, Ohio. I couldn't sleep after signing that lease because I knew deep down that I had not made the right decision for me. In a year or so, I knew that I was probably going to be in the same predicament, wanting to leave because I was not finding fulfillment where I was. I had to let go of that and I moved to Oakland. And although Oakland didn't have such a nice ring to it, like it's dangerous, there's so much going on, I didn't know. Sometimes ignorance can be bliss, because I didn't know too much about Oakland, to be honest. Yeah, like I moved to Brooklyn. I was 18 years old with $28, right? Like I travel solo in places where people think that it's too dangerous, right? I feel like when it's your day, it's your day. And I don't try to live life through a lens of fear, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I probably would have went anyway and just kept my head on swivel. I don't know. But long story short, I went because I needed to go, and something in my spirit, in my soul, was pushing me to go. And I think it's so important to listen to your inner voice, and that's exactly what I did, and I don't regret it. Another question was, did I leave Oakland already? Yes, I'm no longer in Oakland. So the story behind that is, after moving to Oakland, I did eventually get introduced into the community, and I made friends. Not only Rwandese friends, but the friendships that I made ranged from people from Mexico, Jamaica, Zambia, Ethiopia. Like, most importantly, there were girls, and I love that for me. I think female friendships are so important for us to thrive. But I moved there. I was feeling settled more in my spirit. I got a lot of clarity out of different things in life because I was in a place where I was settled. I actually found the love of my life. Not in Oakland though. He was actually outside of the country, and we since got engaged. That same community that welcomed me with open arms also welcomed him with open arms, and together they threw us like an engagement party, which is like, I don't know, just so much happened in that short period of time. And we got engaged and we got married. So I did move out of Oakland. I'm no longer in Oakland. More on that later, but that should answer the question. All right, the next question here is, how has it been? How has it been? Ugh. So the next question here is, how has it been? Why can't I speak? So the next question on here is, how has it been for me? So I mentioned that when I first moved there, of course, like, you have to settle in. It was a good feeling for me. First of all, I downsized. My apartment in Columbus was much bigger than the apartment that I took in Oakland. I had been nomading and staying in like studio apartments here and there. So I kind of knew that I didn't need so much. So that was the idea of me getting a studio apartment. I later kind of regretted it though, because I love hosting people, and I would always have my friends over, and I would like to put dinners together, and I just never had enough space. So that's the only thing. But otherwise, it was perfect for me. At times it was lonely because, again, you are in a new town, a new city, a new state, and although there are people there that you know of, you haven't yet built connections, right? So sometimes I would feel lonely in that newness of things. After a while, I started, getting out more, and I was able to kind of build close relationships with people. So there was a phase of like loneliness and feeling like, dang, like this doesn't feel too good. But eventually that passed. And in my building, I actually made like 3 or 4 friends there that we spent time together. We would meet up at each other's apartments to just like have some girl time or go to the rooftop and cook. And my now husband, Emmerich, actually came one Easter and we hosted a brunch on our rooftop. It was nice. It was really nice. I was in the Uptown area. This is kind of going to go into one of the other questions, which was, is Uptown safe? So I'm talking Uptown Oakland. So we were in the Uptown Oakland area at the building called Uptown Lantana. If it was safe, I couldn't tell you because I was never outside that much, to be honest. I stayed inside. If I needed to go somewhere, I would hop in an Uber, get to where I needed to go, come back inside. I chose a building that had all the amenities that I needed so that I didn't have to gallivant out so much. And the building was also filled with a lot of young professionals, and it was super diverse. Now, I'll say all of that, but I'll also tell you this. From my building window, I would see activity outside. Once the sun went down, sometimes I would see, prostitutes outside. So is it safe? Yeah, that's happening. So you make of that what you will. I did also hear some gunshots here and there. I wanted to believe that they were, cars, tires blowing or fireworks or something. But deep down inside, I think I knew there were bullets. So that would happen. Yeah, there's a lot of homelessness in the Bay Area. Everybody knows this. I was actually surprised, to see how bad it was. And like I mentioned before, I did not know a lot about Oakland, really, so that was a thing that was really heartbreaking to see on a consistent basis. And also a lot of people talk about this, and it's true, right? If you're walking on the sidewalk, like you can just go take a nice leisurely walk. There are human feces you know, on the sidewalks. And I think there's been an effort to clean up Uptown Oakland to attract a certain kind of person to live there. And I would see city cleaners coming to like scrub the sidewalks and all that jazz, but it was still there. I would see so many cars broken into. It was very common throughout the Bay Area that your car will get, you know, broken into. Actually, one of my girlfriends and I were taking a walk. I think we were going to brunch at this restaurant called Lakeview. What was it called? I don't remember. I'll put the name of the place here that I used to love going to, right by the water. We were going there and we literally heard bang. And when we looked behind us, there was a guy with a mask with gloves breaking into a car. I ran. I think my friend actually froze for a little bit. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing? Let's go. Like, that was actually very, very scary. So would I say it's safe? When I was at home in my unit, in my apartment, in my building, I felt fine. But based on what I've just told you, I think you can gauge whether it's safe or not. Going back to how it was for me, it wasn't all bad. I really did have some really amazing experiences outside of my building as well, not gonna lie. In downtown Oakland, they would always do these First Friday events. So the first Friday of the month, they would do a huge event in the streets in downtown, and you would have so many vendors come out. You'd have people outside vibing, music. All the shops would be open late, all the art spaces would be open late, and you could go around and just, you know, explore where you lived. I did go one time and it was fine. It was fine. It was nice to see so many people just having a ball, just having a blast. I will say that it was nice to see, but I was eager to get out of the big crowd. I just think that, like, honestly, since all the shootings that have happened consistently in the US, I don't personally feel super safe just being in large crowds, wherever that is in the US. So yeah, it was nice to be there, but then I also wanted to get out of there. All the people who would go and I would hear about their experience month after month, they always said it was fun and they had a good time and they were safe. So it was probably just me being overly cautious. One of my favorite days in Oakland was with some of the girlfriends that I'd made. There was an event happening. I don't remember what it's called, but it was an event where you are able to go and find all these vendors who sell plants. And let me show you some clips about that day, actually. Thank you. It begins. We haven't even walked maybe 12 feet.
Oh, sorry.
We're already getting plants. Look at this beauty.
With your words that burned me so deep. So mirror, mirror on the wall, bring back the me I used to know. I love myself a little more. With all my flaws, I let it glow. Mirror, mirror on the wall, bring back the me I used to know. I love myself a little more, a little more. Thank God I'm over you. It's been long overdue. Thank God I'm over you.
This is the most expensive plant that we found here. I think I love plants, but I would rather buy a flight. We're done shopping for a plant. All of us got at least 2 to 3 plants per person and some candles, and it was such a nice little excursion. Oh, and the ring, some jewels. So nice. I'm so proud of us, plant moms.
Doing it scared. Laying my claim.
Another experience that I really enjoyed there was going to one of my friends' job to do a Rwandese traditional dance session with them for Black History Month. I love the fact that it's diverse enough to welcome these different experiences from different cultures. That was a lot of fun. And the networking aspect of being there was super cool. As a YouTube creator, I was able to go to some YouTube events, an opportunity that I probably wouldn't have had I stayed in a town where those events are not as prevalent. So in general, I would say that it went well for me. Yes, you've got to be cautious and careful, but I had absolutely no regrets. So someone did ask about the area that I was in and the name of the apartments that I was in, and I mentioned that before, but I'll put it here just in case that was missed. One question that I'm seeing here is, what do I miss most about Oakland? I miss the weather, okay? I also do miss, I don't know, it's not about Oakland per se. I miss the people, right? Like I miss my girlfriends. I miss the times that we had. I miss being able to just like go downstairs to my friend Hadia's apartment, or she come up, or we go like throw some food on the grill and have dinner together last minute. It's those things that made Oakland for me. I honestly don't think that I had enough time to explore Oakland to have enough specific things to miss about it. So for me, it was just about the people, because that's what I was focused on. I will say this, Oakland had some really good Mexican food. There's a place that I went to a few times with Emmerich when he was visiting, and also some of my girlfriends. I don't remember what it was called, something backyard. I'll find the name and put it here. But that place had some really good food, and I missed that. I definitely missed that. Yeah, I would say the main thing that I really miss, the people. What are your thoughts on the crime in Oakland? Yeah, I don't know if I can get too deep into that, because I think there's crime everywhere. Like any major city, you're gonna have pockets of areas that are, you know, dangerous, and you just have to be smart about where you go, when you're going to those places, why you're going to those places, and what you're involving yourself in. It was pretty sad though to see how bad it can get. Literally, you know, people breaking into cars with the sun up in the sky, like nobody cared, you know, and they probably have the attitude because they can get away with it, right? Like I don't know if a lot was being done or what's being done. I have not dug into that, so I cannot speak extensively about that. You know, it's unfortunate. You know, the question is really about crime, but what I do think about really is, you know, something's got to be done about the homelessness there, and I don't know where to start. I don't have enough information to speak about these things, but yeah, we could do better. The last question I'm going to answer here is, oh my god, I can't see, you know, I need my glasses to see that far. Why do people think Oakland is a bad place to live? I think that historically it's been dangerous. A lot of people who were bold enough to say, why would you move to Oakland? It's ABC. They would say that it was dangerous. I think a lot of the things that I mentioned earlier about what I was seeing in my own neighborhood is probably a reason why people wouldn't move to Oakland. Although I didn't have tons of like first-hand experience of this, I think the crime is definitely one of the reasons why people don't think Oakland is a good place to live. But like I mentioned before, no matter where you go, there are going to be pockets of places that are really good and some places that are really bad. You know, I would advise for someone to do their own due diligence in figuring out if a place is a good fit for them. Of course, take in people's input as to why to do something or why not to do something, but eventually sit with yourself and ask yourself if this is the best move for you and why, and then, you know, act accordingly. Okay, I think I've answered all of the questions that I'd received on the moving to Oakland video. If you have any more questions, like, definitely feel free to drop them below. If you have not subscribed, if you're not a subscriber already, please hit that button. On this channel, it's all about maximizing joy through travel, food, experiences, love, relationships, all that good stuff. So if that's your vibe, let's be friends. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'm Josimarie.
Stayed for the devil, I know. Left for the